What's up, Wargamers? We've got another reveal from Games Workshop, and as promised 80 days ago, Abaddon is finally here. I was wondering what was going to happen with the countdown on this model, because when they first launched the Vigilus campaign, they said that 80 days later the Warmaster would come and take it. There's been a countdown on the Games Workshop website counting down those 80 days, but I was half-heartedly thinking that they wouldn't release this model or news on this model until sometime next week at Gamma, when we anticipate that they're going to have some other big reveals for the hobby trade show there in Reno, Nevada. But let's go ahead and dive in and take a look. We're still without rules here for Abaddon, but if you want to take a look at his awesome model and get a sense of the scale of his size, he's finally on that Primarch scale, if you will. I mean, he's not as big as Magnus or something like that, or Mortarion, but he looks like he's about the size of Robert Gumain. So let's take a look here. We'll skip the teaser video, but this is really what we've been waiting for. Is we wanted to see, with as outdated as the old model was, they should really be showing the old model by comparison, because this guy is a monster in every right. He's got the Talon of Horus there on his right arm, and then he's got his blade as usual, but this depicts him so much nastier than the old model before. And I can only imagine that the rules coming out in the new Vigilus campaign book, which is where it's presumed his rules will be released, along with some of the other Demonkin and other chaos that will be coming with him, the Black Legion, will be finally revealed in its full glory. So Abaddon there has the Talon of Horus, which was used to kill Sanguinius when he had gone, when Horus had gone to slay the Emperor, so to speak. You know, whether the Emperor is actually dead or not, that's to be determined. Either they've been dealing with that over the last 10,000 years, believing he's in a stasis, or he was killed by a mere mortal, of which some could say Horus was even a demigod. So many of the Primarchs are rightly seen so. If you have the old Abaddon model, he'll still count as Abaddon for the rules, but he's going to look quite dwarfed by the fact that when you look at the scale of the new model compared to the Primaris Marines and compared to an Imperial Guardsman, he's going to dwarf them completely. It looks like he's actually going to be on a 60mm base, which is like the Dreadnoughts, so he's going to be quite beefy, and I think that does put him on the same size base as Gumain, making him bigger than Marneus Calgar, by the looks of it at least. They should have done a juxtaposition, I think, between his old model and that. What's the price point going to be on him? Well, I think I paid $55 for Marneus Calgar with his 2 guards. I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to be the price point of him if he's released separately, but I also would not be surprised if he's released in a separate, like, Black Legion campaign box that's going to be supported with more of the Chaos Space Marines. So taking a look at some more detail, he's even stepping on a Primaris Marine here to get his leg up, just crushed right through that Mark 10 power armor, and just everything about this, I think, does justice to what we've been waiting for. Assuming that you've been waiting for it. You're either waiting for it or you've been anticipating it, because you're going to start to see a lot of these Chaos players, as we discussed yesterday when we were talking about the new box set coming out for Shadow Spear. That spear was, you know, laid in the ground, a stake in the ground for the Warmaster to return in 80 days, of which we're now here. Looks like Abaddon's going to come with a few different alternate heads. That way you can decide which level of angry you want to have. The standard head, I think, gives him a good grimacing face. That's a pretty decent face for him. If you want him to look like he's kind of disgusted, I'd go with that one, but I don't think I like that face quite as much. It is interesting that they're giving us alternate options. And then if you want him to look like Bane here, you can have him with a little mask over his face. I still think that this is the best pose and the best face for him, but what do you guys think about Abaddon? Comment which one of those 3 heads you guys think would be the best to put on there. It's kind of like when they released Robert Gumain. He came with a helmeted version and he came with a non-helmeted version. It just seems like in this case we're getting the 3 versions. It's presumed that we're now going to get the rules for him here. If we take a look at the cover art, it's probably even going to foreshadow some other things coming out. But this is Imperium Nihilus Vigilus Ablaze. So this is a continuation of the Vigilus campaign that's going to bring the rules for Abaddon and probably a lot more of the Black Legion miniatures. And it's probably going to include some stuff for the Vanguard and maybe some other modifications for other lists like we saw in the other Vigilus book. Even Orcs got something interesting in that one. So I think there might be a little bit for most armies to pick up there, and that makes it worthwhile for Games Workshop to sell it to hobbyists who want to claim the rules. Let's see if we can find anything else here in the artwork. Lots of Hell Drakes, a couple Forge Fiends. Looks like we've got a drop pod up here in the corner, and nothing in particular really stands out, although sometimes the devil's in the details when you're looking at this artwork of them kind of foreshadowing something else coming out later. Nothing seems to stand out to me in that piece of artwork. Here we've got the Venom Crawler. So to show it in action, how its weapons are going to work, I didn't pay too close attention to memorizing the details on it, but I do really like this model and its arachnid type pose. I think it's going to be a really cool one, but here it has some type of flame weapon, so that's going to make it a really nasty auto hit type of model when it gets on the battlefield. And then here you go with this is beyond Shadow Spear. I don't remember seeing this weapon in there, because when we looked at the Shadow Spear box yesterday and its contents, the Chaos Space Marine we saw with the heavy weapon appeared to be holding an autocannon, and in this case it's holding like an assault cannon type of weapon. And let's see what it's got here. It says, as those of you who've been following the Demon Engine may have guessed, there's an army of new models waiting to be revealed, including some things you've never seen before. That's interesting. So maybe at Gamma we're going to finally see all this, including things we've never seen, presumably never seen in the artwork as well, and new takes on units you know and love, like this guy. So this guy is going to be awesome. It's almost like the assault cannon itself is demonically possessed, because it's got teeth and a mouth here, and it's like a living suit of armor. So I do really like that, and they're calling him a Havoc. So he's presumably not going to be an add-on to a Chaos Space Marine unit. Havocs are the heavy support equivalent that's just like Devastators are to Space Marines. So stay tuned for some more information coming up about the release of the Black Legion, and then we're going to go straight to Gamma and Reno to bring you guys some news, and I'm going to introduce you to my partner at the store where we've launched some new campaigns with Warhammer 40K to get people interested in the game. So stay tuned to Budget Wargamer for more info.